Yes, many persons are really not too sure about how this party started in the 90s and would want to say Fundi was not the beginning, Fundi was not the founding father, ascribing this to other persons. Can we know how this journey started with the SDF and Nijon Fundi?
Well, if you have read the book, The Untold Story of the creation or the launch of the SDF on the 26th of May 1990, this is a voluminous book. I would like our televiewers to probably go through. And this particular edition of the book, The Struggle for Democracy and Good Governance, The Untold Story, was written when the Social Democratic Front was celebrating its 25th anniversary, that is the Silver Jubilee. And it took a lot of resources, human resources, material resources, logistics, name it. And of course, with the directives of the national chairman to come up with this book. So, but then if you get into the, you read between the lines, following the launch of the Social Democratic Front, you will understand that it took a lot of underground work. We might not be able to dissect everything that happened. But then, if you go to page 10 of that book, you will get testimonies of who signed the party papers. Who signed the party papers? Those who were involved in the signing. And it's a little bit tricky because when all was done, all the groundwork was done, it was time to sign the party document, to deposit it at the deal's office. Now, Frundi and the others sat in his house. It is a testimony that's been written by those who were there at the beginning. I'm not inventing anything. And those who have equally read this book, amongst them who wrote, of course, our blessed professional father, Francis Wache, were those amongst those who wrote. Budi Adams, they are still there, and many others. I may not recollect the names. And here, let me just quote this. Here, Frundi, the signing proper was done in my Intaricon residence. Because sometimes when we speak, or when people speak, even in bars, they will tell you Frundi was not. He did not write this book. The people who wrote the book are there. The signing proper was done in my Intaricon residence. The people, he said, all of them were present. All of them were present. We started with Justice Wakai to sign. Get it clear. We started with Justice Wakai to sign. That is Frundi talking. He said, well, I've been chairing these meetings, but you know, I will soon come home on retirement from the Supreme Court. That's Justice Wakai speaking. And if they see my name on this thing, they might block my retirement benefits. After a stellar legal career, Justice Wakai anticipated a well-merited retirement, so he did not sign. He did not sign. Alfred Azefo was asked to sign. The documents were there. He replied, "Here, Alfred Azefo, you know, I am the Deputy Director of Scientific Research. I cannot sign because I am working with state outfit. And consequently, the government will take punitive reprisals against me." That is Alfred Azefo talking. They turned to Alicious Tebo to sign. Alicious Tebo said, "I am a businessman. My wife is not here and I am alone with my children. Furthermore, if I sign, my bills will not be paid. I will suffer." What about you, Dr. Carlson Anyangwe? I am a lecturer in the university. As you are aware, it is a state university. It would be dangerous for me to sign. And I will just go to the last person. How about you, Gomo Akuchu? I am working with an American non-governmental organization. If I sign and all of us go in, because it was a matter of do or die, who will defend us from outside? Let me remain, so that if there is any armies, I will be working from the background, so that they could see how to free them, if at all they were arrested at that time. As Zephyr said, he was a researcher in Bambili, working with a state outfit, and consequently could not sign. He argued the government would take punitive reprisals against me. So I am just giving these, and because the person who was absent at the time was Abe Mukong. It is a fact. And Abe Mukong was in prison after the Yondo Black issue. So, and Fru Ndi said, honestly, if Mukong were there, he would have signed. But Mukong's problem was to take the leadership. And so that is how the national chairman took the leadership, the courage. He mustered the courage, and then they went and deposited the document. So what happened? Listen. When everybody turned out the invitation to sign the document, it was then now Dr. Siga Saga. He looked at him and he said, okay, Ni, you sign as the chairman. I sign as the Secretary General. They carry the cross of Cameroonians. And that is how they signed and went and deposited the document, and the Social Democratic Front was launched. So when we talk about founding fathers, some people don't even know the history of the founding fathers. And because we live in a country where people don't read anymore, you understand, Apostle? People don't read anymore, which means that it is a long journey. Fru Ndi took all the risk. And if he explains, because when it happened, after he had launched, after he has punched his fist, SDF took off. Cameroonians embraced. It spread like bushfire in the Hamatan. And that is how the SDF came into existence. And people started marching on the streets. And 6 died. Of the 6 who died, 4 were students. 1 was a tailor, and 1 was a mill operator, that is to say, corn mill operator. And that is how trouble started, and till today, the national chairman has remained the only man who dare a devil. Because at that time, the political articulation could not permit anybody to venture on such a terrain. It would have been considered very high treason against a state.
Yes, but tell me how your party saw the treatment that was reserved for him within this Anglophone crisis by Anglophones.
Well, I read the postings of one of our prolific writers, Jimmy George.
Okay.
George wrote a very short one, about 9 sentences or a paragraph or so. And to me, all the postings on social media platforms, yes, paying tribute to Ni John Fru Ndi, but what Jimmy wrote was extremely painful to me. A very short text in the memory of Fru Ndi. He said people should pay tribute to Fru Ndi as he's living, because many people castigated him. But sometimes, Apostle, when you sit and then reflect on the trajectory of the man Fru Ndi, I believe we will not be able to write much of what he did in the next 50 years. And people like Fru Ndi, they will come no more in Cameroon, knowing how Cameroon is moving and the way people are playing politics today. it might extremely be difficult for someone like Fru Ndi to come again in this country. So I believe that the treatment that Cameroonians reserved for for him, I mean some Cameroonians, is not the best. All of us have errors of our past. Nobody is perfect in this world. But then we could count the blessings of his risk, the risk he took to salvage Cameroonians from the pangs of dictatorship at the time. Because if you look at the brutality with which the repression that followed the launch of the Social Democratic Front, you could already understand what it means. Dare a nation like Cameroon, which, according to the slogan, was an island of peace. I've been hearing you talk too many times. We've been meeting, and then we laugh, we joke. Is this the island of peace we've been talking about? Now, a lot of people misunderstand him because he has always stood his ground to the right direction, to salvage Cameroonians. Not only salvaging people from the northwest or southwest region. People enjoyed protection when they are around Fru Ndi. Some other political leaders have been prohibited. They have been muzzled. They will come and ask for the chairman's protection and for his advice. Of course, that was wisdom, either on their part or on the part of the national chairman. So today, I think we should only pay tribute to him for what he's done and the respect he commanded. Yes, some people say sell out. In politics, how do you sell out? Once a nation is at, the life of a nation is at stake, I think it is incumbent on all to come on board and ask questions. What do we do? How do we go about it? There we are now talking about political rapprochement, where we converge our ideas for a goal, for a betterment of the country.